I was a boy,
Oh, here we go.
my father told me to bang my head against a rock, and I did it. I thought it was crazy, but I didn't question him. And you know what happened?
You got a headache.
That rock split in two. It taught me what a Viking can do, Gobber. He can crush mountains, level forests, tame seas. Even as a boy, I knew what I was, what I had to become. Hiccup is not that boy.
You are a man regardless, so be you. I want you to think of the manliest man you know and think about his character and compare yourself to that person right now. Now, I need you to scrap that idea. It seems like everyone has a think piece on what makes a good or bad man these days, and frankly, I think it's unfair. To me, there is no perfect man. Just a person that's forever trying to better himself and his well-being. It seems like what defines a man is more prevalent now in the media since red pill nature has gone viral. But before we had young impressionable youth looking up to Andrew Tate, we had Hiccup, who I think is the pinnacle of masculinity. The term toxic masculinity has become a buzzword, often sparking internet controversy, yet the actual meaning is often misunderstood and oversimplified. At its core, toxic masculinity is when an idea about being a man is taken too far, like thinking men always have to be tough or to never show feelings. This can hurt not just men, but also the people around them and the whole community. Here, let me give you a basic example.
Watch out, babe. I'll take care of this. The sun was in my eyes, Astrid.
I think the language around toxic masculinity often misses the mark. Instead of asking, why are you acting so tough? Versus, why do you feel you have to keep up strong walls all the time? Rather than questioning why men crave power, we should ask, why do men feel their worth is tied to power alone? By shifting the conversation this way, we get to the root of the pressures that shape masculine identity. We first meet Hiccup. He isn't the most masculine guy, and he knows this through his sarcasm.
Ah, come on. I'm way too muscular for their taste. They wouldn't know what to do with all this.
Well, they need toothpicks, don't they?
A strong body doesn't make you a man, neither is a weak one, just strong character.
You can't lift a hammer, you can't swing an axe, you can't even throw one of these.
The thing is, it's never too late to learn. Everything he said about Hiccup is very true, but there's another thing that's very true about Hiccup, and that he's stubborn and he doesn't give up easily. We're introduced to Stoick the Vast, Hiccup's father and the chief of the Viking village, and he embodies the ideal of hegemonic masculinity, and this just refers to the dominant form of masculinity, so basically just think of a macho man. This concept emphasizes dominance, physical strength, and emotional restraint, traits celebrated in his community. Stoick's character represents the alpha, or the ideal Viking male. He has been raised to believe that a Viking's worth lies in their ability to command respect through force and fearlessness, leading him to view emotions as weakness and vulnerability, often valuing physical powers over any other trait. On the other hand, Hiccup shows to be a subordinate masculinity type, a form of masculinity that challenges the dominant model. He tends to embrace empathy, creativity, and intellect over brute strength. In one part of the movie, we get a very harsh scene between Gobber telling Hiccup if he ever wants to be a dragon killer, he has to stop being him.
If you ever want to get out there to fight dragons, you need to stop all this.
But you just pointed to all of me.
Yes, that's it. Stop being all of you.
This complete disregard for everything Hiccups embodies promotes nothing but one form of masculinity. Here are some common things that men get looked down upon either by other men or society that isn't traditionally masculine. For starters, we are pursuing non-traditional careers or hobbies. An example is a man that's passionate about fields like nursing or being a stay-at-home dad. These are activities that are considered feminine. If you're wondering what's the reason, well, before industrialization, men were often associated with physical demanding labor, hunting, farming, and warfare, while women took up the caregiving. These associations became deeply ingrained and continued even as society evolved, and historically, professions dominated by women, such as nursing and teaching, have been undervalued economically and socially. The lower pay status of these jobs perpetuates the idea that they are less suitable for men seeking societal validation. A 2012 report found that 32% of men feel pressure to be manly or masculine. But truly ask yourself, what would your life look like if you didn't have these pressures? It's a fun thing to think about because honestly, you wouldn't be yourself. Your friend and social life might be different, and life might be less about proving your strength and more about finding balance. You see, Hiccup, like any young man at his age, is just trying to be accepted by his peers. And in order to be accepted around there, you have to take out a dragon, which leads him to want to take out the biggest and the baddest, a night fury. One night, when Hiccup wants to prove himself, he freezes and almost dies to a dragon, leading to his dad lashing out on him and about how he's not ready.
This isn't a joke, Hiccup. Oh, why can't you follow the simplest orders?
I can't stop myself. I see a dragon and I have to just kill it, you know? It's who I am, Dad.
Oh, yeah, many things, Hiccup. But a dragon killer is not one of them. Get back to the house.
And the funny thing is, the dad is right. Later in the film, when Hiccup finds the Night Fury, he is immediately excited because this is everything he has ever dreamed for. But he's conflicted, because he doesn't have what it takes to actually kill the Night Fury. Now I want to ask you something. Hiccup has two choices, to either kill the dragon and become respected, or to let the dragon go, and potentially risk never being accepted by his people. I want you to be honest. What would you do in this situation? Hiccup chooses compassion, which in return almost got him killed, but nonetheless, his true nature prevailed. A quality a lot of men struggle with. Now the statement "almost got me killed" is interesting because a lot of people might be thinking, does compassion make a person weak or vulnerable? The moment challenged the notion that kindness equates to weakness, especially in a world where strength and aggression is often seen as the only means of survival. Hiccup's decision to let a dragon go reflects a deeper strength, the courage to be true to oneself, even when it's risky. And this isn't to say compassion doesn't have its downsides. A man's authority is often associated with the firm, assertive demeanor, and kindness is often misinterpreted as a sign of lack of control. This perception can lead to situations where men who are more vulnerable are being taken advantage of, and they may be seen as soft or even being a pushover. Research shows that men who demonstrate empathy and compassion are often face subtle penalties in the workplace. For some reason, these qualities lower some people's leadership potential, but I understand, if you're stoic and you have to lead a bunch of men into battle, you don't have time for compassion. The dragon decided to spare Hiccup as a sign of respect, but, on result, the dragon can't fly because of Hiccup's actions. This leads to the two getting closer and Hiccup building a bond and eventually naming him Toothless. Hiccup was able to build this trust without having to instill control or fear, something Stoick never did for him. One of the absolute best scenes in the movie is when Hiccup builds Toothless another wing, and their trust in each other is put to the test. You see, Hiccup has to let go of the controls, and it reminds me of what Gabber said to him.
Look, the point is, stop trying so hard to be something you're not.
I just want to be one of you guys.
Hiccup's biggest weakness is that he's an overthinker, and he lacks what the other Vikings have, and that's intuition. When he let go of the paper, it shows that he has enough faith in himself to finally not mess up. And in order for all of that to happen, he had to be himself. Fast forward, and now Hiccup is in dragon training, and he's using techniques from Toothless to tame other dragons, and everyone in the village is amazed because how did this weak kid who couldn't even throw an axe get so good? And it's because he took the time to understand the creatures, rather than trying to just kill them off. When it came to the big day before Hiccup's first test, we get a chat which I think is sad between Stoick and Hiccup.
All those years of the worst Viking Burke has ever seen. Odin, it was rough. I almost gave up on you. And all the while you were holding out on me. Oh, Thor Almighty! Oh, with you doing so well in the ring, we finally have something to talk about.
I think it's kinda sad how Stoick as a father has now only been able to express his feelings towards Hiccup, and it's only because they have dragon hunting as a common ground. But once again, that's not who Hiccup is. In other words, this is like your dad loving sports and you hate sports. In psychology, the actual term is called interest divergence. It's a common experience that doesn't necessarily mean a lack of closeness, though it can be sometimes create a misunderstanding or feelings of disconnect between parents and children. On the actual day, Hiccup tries to tame a dragon in a humane manner, and Stoick freaks out, causing a big panic and putting Hiccup to danger. This sent Toothless running to go protect him. Toothless was then captured and Hiccup was shunned. This was all because Stoick had no trust in his abilities and believes the only way a beast can be tamed is if it's killed. You see, a lot of people would say the ending still perpetuates toxic male stereotypes, but I disagree. This movie isn't about brains versus bronze, but rather balance. It isn't until the final fight where a dragon so powerful couldn't be stopped without the help of other dragons, and the only one capable enough is Hiccup. Stoick finally realizes how wrong he was for everything.
I'm sorry. For everything.
Yeah, me too.
You don't have to go up there.
We're Vikings. It's an occupational hazard.
I'm proud to call you my son.
Figures like Aristotle argue that a good man cultivates virtues such as kindness, courage, and temperance, striving for balance rather than extremes in any form of one trait. Hiccup knows that he has to be dominant because the time actually calls for it. He finally takes flight and starts to battle the dragon. Hiccup once again was only able to beat the dragon with the trust of Toothless.
Hold, Toothless.
Things didn't end so smoothly, with Hiccup waking up with a lost leg, and I always thought this was kinda pure. Hiccup fainted and woke up technically less of a man, but I will argue he's more than a man than ever. At the end of the film, Hiccup redefines what it means to be a Viking, showing his village that masculinity doesn't have to mean violent dominance. Because of his actions, the culture decided to shift.
Turns out all we needed was a little more of this.
You just gestured to all of me.
As Stoick once said, a Viking can crush mountains, level forests, and even tame seas. But Hiccup shows us that the true strength also lies in taming one's heart, standing with one's values, and treating others with empathy. With that being said, I want to thank you for watching Media Munchies. Have a nice day.